My grandmother was 83 years old, and she had the calm of a still lake. Not once in my life did I see her rush. Not once did I see her diet, count a calorie, or step into a gym. And yet, well into her 80s, she was slim. That quiet, effortless slimness that no amount of striving ever seems to buy the rest of us. I remember standing in her small kitchen late one night, watching her move slowly through a series of little rituals before bed, and I finally asked her the question I had carried for years. How do you stay like this? She didn't talk about food. She didn't talk about exercise. She simply looked at the kettle warming on the stove, at the low lamp glowing in the corner, and she said, "The body lets go at night, but only when it feels safe." I didn't understand her then. I do now. And if you've spent years fighting the fat around your middle, punishing yourself with diets, with crunches, with early mornings at the gym, only to watch it cling to your body like it's afraid of losing you, then I need you to hear what she was really saying. Because you have been taught something backwards. You have been taught that stubborn belly fat is an enemy to be attacked, that you must burn it, starve it, sweat it off through sheer force of will. But the harder you fight your body, the tighter it holds on. That soft weight around your stomach is not there because you're lazy or broken. It is there because your body is afraid, and a frightened body does not let go. In Japan, the approach is the opposite of war. There is no fighting. There is only signaling, quietly telling the body night after night that the danger has passed, that it is safe, that it can finally release what it has been holding so tightly for so long. And here is the part almost no one in the West understands. This release doesn't happen while you're straining in the gym. It happens in the dark. It happens while you sleep. My grandmother's secret was a ritual. 4 small, gentle steps she performed every single night without fail. And tonight, I'm going to give all 4 of them to you. Let me guess how it's gone for you. You cut the carbs. You skipped dinner. You did the plank challenge, the 30-day ab program, the morning runs in the cold. Maybe the number on the scale moved a little, but that pocket of fat around your stomach, the one you can grab with your hand, barely budged. It sat there, stubborn and quiet, as if it hadn't heard a word you said. And somewhere along the way, you started to believe the problem was you, that you didn't want it badly enough, that you weren't disciplined enough. I want you to set that belief down because it isn't true. Here is what almost no one tells you. The harder you push your body, the more reason you give it to hold on. Think about what a punishing diet actually says to your body. It says, food is scarce now. Danger is here. And a body that believes food is scarce does the most logical thing in the world. It stores. It clings to every reserve it has, especially the deep fat around your organs, because that is exactly the fat it was designed to save for a crisis. The same thing happens with brutal exercise. A body already stretched thin by stress and poor sleep doesn't read a hard workout as health. It reads it as one more emergency. So it braces, it holds, it protects. This is the cruel joke of the Western approach. We treat the body like a machine to be forced, and then we're baffled when it resists us. We attack the fat, and the fat digs in. We declare war on our own stomach, and we lose over and over, wondering what's wrong with us. Now look at how the Japanese live once the sun goes down. The evening is not a battlefield. It is sacred. It is the slow, deliberate closing of the day, a warm soak, a dimmed room, a quiet cup of something warm, an early and unhurried sleep. Nothing is being fought. Nothing is being forced. The entire evening is designed, whether they name it or not, to send the body a single message. The day is over, and you are safe now. That message is everything. because a body that feels safe has no reason to keep bracing, and a body that stops bracing finally, quietly, begins to let go of what it was so desperately holding. There is a word for the state the Japanese step into every night, and once you understand it, everything about your belly changes. The Japanese have a word for it: Nagomi. It doesn't translate cleanly into English, which is part of why we've lost the thing it points to. Nagomi is the state of being softened, of coming into harmony, of the body and mind settling into a quiet balance where nothing is at war. It's the feeling of tension leaving your shoulders without you telling it to. It's the moment the breath drops from the chest into the belly. It's what my grandmother had at 83, radiating from her like warmth off a stone that has sat in the sun all day. Nagomi is not something you achieve, it is something you allow. For centuries, this was woven into the ordinary rhythm of Japanese life, especially at night. The evening rituals, the bath, the stillness, the early rest were never really about cleanliness or routine. They were quietly a nightly practice of returning the body to harmony. Grandmother to mother, mother to daughter, the same unspoken lesson passed down. End the day soft, not braced. Let the body come home to itself before you sleep. No one called it a fat loss method. It simply was the way a person was supposed to close a day. But here is where it touches the very thing you've been fighting. That stubborn fat around your middle, the deep kind, wrapped around your organs, is a survival deposit. Your body only builds it and guards it when it believes it's living in a state of ongoing threat, constant pressure, constant alarm, a nervous system that never fully stands down. That fat is not a flaw in your body. It is your body doing its job perfectly, responding to a signal of danger that never seems to switch off. Now, follow the logic all the way through. A body in Nagomi, soft, harmonized, unafraid, has received the opposite signal. The threat is gone. The emergency is over. And a body that no longer believes it's in an emergency has no reason to keep hoarding emergency fuel. The bracing stops, the guarding stops, and slowly, night after night, the grip loosens. This is the entire secret my grandmother could not put into words. She wasn't slim because she fought her body. She was slim because every single night, she led it gently back into harmony. And a harmonized body simply doesn't cling to fat the way a frightened one does. Let me show you what this looked like for someone who found Nagomi late, after years of doing everything wrong. There was a woman in Nagoya, let's call her Aiko, who spent most of her 40s exhausted. On paper, she was doing everything right. She ate carefully, she walked, she watched her portions, and still, the softness around her middle would not leave, and her sleep was a wreck. She'd lie awake past midnight with her mind racing, then drag herself through the next day running on fumes. The more tired she got, the more her body seemed to swell and hold. She was convinced something was wrong with her. What was actually wrong was that her body had not felt truly safe in years. Here is what was happening beneath the surface. When you carry stress late into the night, the glowing phone, the late meal, the unfinished worries, your body keeps a hormone called cortisol elevated when it should be falling. Cortisol is the alarm hormone. It's meant to spike in the morning to wake you and fade by night to let you rest. But when it stays high after dark, your body reads it as a threat that never ends. And a threatened body does two things. It refuses to store fat in the belly loosely, and it resists deep, repairing sleep. The two problems feed each other. Poor sleep raises cortisol. High cortisol wrecks sleep. Round and round, while the fat holds on. There's another piece to this. Your body has two modes, one for stress, one for rest. The rest mode, run by what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, is the only state in which the body truly repairs and releases. Most of us in the modern world almost never enter it. We fall asleep still braced, still half in alarm, and our body spends the night guarding instead of healing. Aiko's body had forgotten how to switch off, so she stopped trying to fix her stomach and started instead to fix her nights. She built a small ritual before bed, nothing hard, nothing that took willpower, just a handful of gentle signals repeated every evening, telling her body over and over that the day was finally done. Within a few weeks, her sleep deepened. Within a couple of months, her waist began to soften and shrink, not from a new diet, not from the gym, but because her body, at long last, felt safe enough to let go. Her ritual had 4 simple steps. Here they are. The first step is warmth. About an hour before bed, Aiko soaked in a hot bath, and if you don't have a tub, a basin of hot water for your feet does nearly the same thing. This isn't about getting clean. Warm water draws the body out of its guard. It loosens the muscles, slows the pulse, and tells the nervous system that it's safe to stand down. Your body cannot brace and soften at the same time. Warmth chooses softness for you. You don't burn belly fat by force. You melt the fear that's holding it. The second step is darkness. After the bath, Aiko dimmed the lights and put the screens away. Bright light late at night is read by your brain as daytime, and daytime means stay alert. By lowering the light, she was quietly telling her body the sun had set, and the day was truly over. This one costs nothing, and asks nothing of you, and yet it's the step most people refuse, because we've fallen in love with the glowing rectangle that keeps our body on high alert long past midnight. The third step is breath. Sitting quietly, Aiko breathed low and slow into her belly for about 5 minutes, not into the chest, but down into the space beneath the navel, the place the Japanese call the tanden. Slow belly breathing flips the switch from stress mode into rest mode. It's the fastest door into that repairing, releasing state your body forgets how to find. 5 minutes, that's all. A calm breath is a signal your body can't argue with. The fourth step is sleep itself, early and at the same time each night. Aiko stopped treating sleep as the thing she'd get to after everything else. She made it the anchor of her whole day. Because this is the truth we bury under every diet and every workout. Your body does its deepest letting go while you sleep, or it doesn't do it at all. A body that sleeps deep and on rhythm brings its cortisol down where it belongs, and a body with calm cortisol finally stops guarding your waist. 4 steps: warmth, darkness, breath, sleep. None of them require suffering. None of them require willpower. And that is exactly the point, because the body never lets go for the person who is still fighting it. But there is one of these 4 that matters more than all the others. Here's what your grandmother understood that your gym never will. The body was never meant to be conquered. It was meant to be reassured. Everything you've been told to attack, she knew to soften. And of the 4 steps, if you take only one thing from tonight, let it be this: sleep is the foundation. The warmth, the darkness, the breath, they all exist to carry you into deep, unhurried sleep, because that is where the real release happens. Fix your nights first, and everything else begins to follow. So let me give you the whole ritual once more, simply the way Aiko did it and the way my grandmother did it for 80 years. First, warmth, a hot bath or a hot foot soak about an hour before bed to draw your body out of its guard. Second, darkness, dim the lights and put the screens away so your body knows the day is truly over. Third, breath. 5. Slow breaths down into the belly, into the tanden, to open the door from stress into rest. And fourth, sleep, early, and at the same time each night, the anchor that lets your body finally let go. That's it. Nothing to buy, nothing to punish yourself with. Just 4 quiet signals, repeated night after night, telling a frightened body that the danger has passed, and it is safe now. And a body that feels safe does what no diet could ever force it to do. It loosens its grip, softens its hold, and slowly releases the very thing you spent years trying to fight off. My grandmother never fought her body a single day of her life. She simply led it home, every night, back into harmony. And her body thanked her for it well into her 80s. Now, I want to hear from you. Of these 4 steps, warmth, darkness, breath, or sleep, which one will you begin tonight? Write it down here in the comments right now so we can hold you to it. Say it out loud to yourself and to us. Tonight, I stop fighting my body and I start letting it rest. And if this gave you a gentler way to think about your own body, subscribe and stay with us because there is so much more quiet wisdom to share. Pine and patience, small habits, deep roots,